Numerous angles have come out also. Obviously, we're going to start with the federal agent involved shooting in Minneapolis right now. Details are still coming out. It's a breaking story, but I was following it closely with a bunch of people, a bunch of activists on the ground, but also a word of mouth spreads pretty fast around these parts. But outside of that, I was talking to a bunch of journalists as well. And it does feel like it's just a straight up state sponsored execution. I mean, it doesn't feel like it. It's just that is what it is. And obviously, we're gonna get right into it. I'll blast off real quick. Yeah, there's a live coverage happening as well. But I'll give you guys a regular coverage on like what took place first off, and then we'll do it. We'll do the live news coverage as well. Is there one that just basically describes what took place quickly for those of you who have not seen it yet? Because it seems like he was an observer. We'll be looking into the background because the state, after assassinating this man, another 37-year-old, by the way, 37-year-old American citizen, according to law enforcement, that came out earlier this morning outside of Glam Donuts, basically. And this is Omar's take on it. He released a statement. He said, "ICE murdered another person in my district this morning. This was a flat-out execution, horrific and absolutely in the hands of these untrained, untamed agents. Every single one must be held accountable for their actions. We can no longer allow them to continue on their spree." Yeah, it is pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. I know we have all the live streams and stuff. I'm just I'm gonna get into the live streams, but I want to see I want to see a brief summarization of events that took place. But things are getting pretty heated out here. Like I'm in downtown Minneapolis currently, and it's I've been hearing cop cars all morning. It does seem like police have been called back. Off-duty cops have been called back into duty, and they're gearing up with riot patrol. They're gearing up with riot gear right now at the Minneapolis Police Department. So they're not like it seems there's no definitive summarization. Man, just give me a news. Give me like one video of a news broadcast. I'll explain exactly what took place, because I'm gonna. Okay, here it is. This is good. This is fine. All right. Also, we blasted off. Okay. Here it is.
With breaking news, U.S. media are reporting that one person has died after being shot by federal agents in Minneapolis. The Department of Homeland Security said the situation was evolving, but claimed that the man who was killed had a firearm and 2 magazines. The incident comes less than 3 weeks after the fatal shooting of Rene Good, which has already sparked protests across the city. Thousands of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, agents have since been deployed to the Democratic-led city as Republican President Donald Trump intensifies his nationwide campaign to deport immigrants.
Yeah, so the mainstream media's narrative is repeating the Department of Homeland Security narrative, which, by the way, at this point is the least reliable order of events. I'll just start there. Basically, this morning, I get a text message from some of the local organizers that another shooting has taken place. We dig into it. We find a Facebook video from the incident from Glam Donuts across the street from where this person was shot. A bystander video shows several agents wrestled with a man on a city sidewalk in southern Minneapolis moments before the shooting. And Police Chief Brian O'Hara has issued a plea for calm as protesters gathered at the scene. Please do not destroy our city. He also actually told the federal agents to follow the laws. But basically what took place is, and I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to show you the footage. I'm going to give you a trigger warning ahead of time, because it's pretty awful. You can't really see any of the blood or anything like that, but and therefore I think it's like I can show it without hitting a terms of service violation here, but it's a really gruesome image. So I put it on my Twitter page earlier this morning as well, and I'll start there. The victim, as far as we know, there's not a lot of details on it, but the victim, as far as we know, is a 37-year-old American citizen, and basically The claim is that the Department of Homeland Security's claim is that this person was actually, trying to violently attack them or something, and it's not the case. And this is the first video that came out this morning. He was a lawful gun owner. He wasn't doing anything wrong in the situation as far as we can see, and he was also a 37-year-old. You see a guy pull the trigger on the gun? Wait, what? Are you talking about the ICE agents? Yeah. Here. So we'll start here at the incident.
Watch, man, and they keep pushing people,
So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ICE agents that are surrounding this this suspect, this victim. Okay, so he is, I think he was 51, not 37. I thought they said he was 37 years old, but I might be wrong. I think initially I heard he was 51, but then they reported that he was 37. So same age as Renee Good. So yeah, Jacob Fry said he was 37 years old. I think the initial report said he was 51, but anyway, he's surrounded by 8 agents here, and there are people filming the incident from across the street. There's a lady here also that is filming the incident directly. And according to The Intercept, the victim was, according to an eyewitness that told The Intercept, that the victim of this morning's fatal shooting by federal agents in Minneapolis appeared to be one of the several legal observers who mobilized this morning outside of a donut shop. The witness said he hid in a doorway with others, fearing being shot as well. So he's is it weird to think you're in the same city as this guy shot? No, it's also like right down the street. Like, I'm not super far away from this incident. Like, this is actually one of those things that, like, this is the difference between like being far away in Los Angeles when covering the news and then being like directly where the where the things are happening, right? Where you have a very different experience with it, and obviously I can never understand what it's like for like regular Minneapolis people to exist under this like insane military occupation from the federal government. But no, I didn't hear the gunshots. It's not that close. But my point is, like, when you're here, you're like, okay, like, what if you went out there? You know what I mean? What if you went out there and you were just getting donuts? Like, you could have just as easily, like, you start thinking, okay, well, anywhere where there are ICE agents is a threat. Okay? It's very different when, it's very different when you can visualize it, when you can see it directly happening. In any case, what ends up taking place here is as they are pummeling him to the ground, and you will see in a second in this video, they basically take him down to the ground, and they've surrounded him. There's at least, like, as far as I can see, like 5 agents that have their hands on him. They're apprehending him in the most violent way possible. Okay? And then you will hear gunshots being fired. As soon as the commotion advances here, there's another ICE agent as well. The one with the gray jacket is the one to pay attention to here. So they start pistol whipping the victim. One of the ICE agents starts pistol whipping the victim. This ICE agent back there draws his service weapon. Okay? And the one with the gray jacket, as you can tell from over here, actually pulls out a gun. Now, it seems like the one with the gray jacket is actually pulling out it looks as though he's pulling out the victim's the victim's weapon, potentially. But then the first shot gets fired, and then I won't show you the rest of this here.
Holy shit. What the?
Multiple shots are fired, and then another ICE agent backs away right here, and you can see him. This is right after he's fired a shot. Numerous shots, as a matter of fact. The lady that filmed the video posted, I know there's another angle, but I don't think it's the woman on the pink. Oh, it looks like it could be. Okay, or maybe another person. So I don't know who shot the first, who fired off the first shot, and obviously I'll take a look at the second angle off screen as well before I see if it's safe for stream as well. But this is basically the safe for as safe as possible version of this angle. It's the first angle that came out. But if you watch this 39-second video in its full in in its entirety, you very quickly realize that this is just a straight up ISIS style, IDF style execution. It's completely unacceptable, and yet it's yet another day where ICE is behaving in this way. Okay, because he does not stop shooting. And you can, I'm going to show you another still frame here because there's not a lot of gore or blood in it at all. But the victim at that point is definitely dead. He's laying lifeless on the ground. And that guy who backed away continues shooting at least 3 or 4 bullets into his lifeless body at that point.
Did they kill that guy? Are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah.
Not again. Are you kidding me? That guy's dead.
So that's the 39-second video that went viral all over the internet shortly after it happened. And then immediately, I would say like approximately 30 minutes after the video started spreading, the Department of Homeland Security came out and fed this information to their favorite Fox News correspondent, Bill Malugin, saying, breaking news, DHS tells Fox News the suspect was armed with a gun, which has been recovered by federal agents. Now, very quickly, this was going to be the meta. One of the things that they also said, according to on-the-ground reporting, before we get to the second angle, guys, I have the second angle. I'm going to talk about the second angle. Just hold on for a moment, okay? Please, let me gather my thoughts here, okay? So basically, right as the incident was taking place, they very quickly secured the perimeter, and by that I mean they just took into detention every single person that was there, that was a witness that was filming. The Tribune reported on this. They said that ISIS transported several witnesses into detention, and they also refused local law enforcement from surrounding the scene as well, from what I understand, and ICE attempted to order local police from the scene, but the police chief O'Hara refused. Sources said O'Hara instructed his officers to preserve the scene. And it's very clear that just like with Jonathan Ross, the first thing that these guys do after another, unlawful state-sponsored execution is to basically cover their own tracks. Like they immediately are like, all the witnesses, we're picking them up, we're packing them up, we're shipping them off into facility. We're going to see what they have. We're going to try to threaten them. God knows what, with God knows what, to claim that they also are like, a part of this process. Okay. As I was mentioning, this is taking place, in an American city, once again, an American city that has a history of like labor organizing, labor militancy, an American city that actually just had, more than 50,000 people take to the streets yesterday and do a one-day general strike with labor unions that were involved, even though, from what I understand, some might have even been a little reluctant initially to do a work stoppage at all. But the reason why they did it, the reason why they all did it, is because the people are very frustrated. Everyone is sick and tired of this bullshit, okay? Everyone is sick and tired of this nonsensical bullshit. And I do think that it was odd that there wasn't a lot of mainstream media coverage on this, but you guys saw I was there. It was an incredible moment of solidarity. Here is how many people, like briefly, you can make sense of like how vast, how large, how widely participated yesterday's actions were. The reason why I'm starting here with this story is because instead of seeing people from all different walks of life, instead of seeing people from all different backgrounds, from all different places of business, different industries, Minneapolis, people of Minneapolis, people of Minnesota that are frustrated with what this government is doing, what the federal government is doing, instead of looking at that and then responding with a de-escalation, it's very clear that ICE was on high alert and decided to behave in the exact same ways that they are, maybe even more violent than before. Here it is. Just so you understand how giant these crowds were. And you also have to remember, this was taking place in minus 20 degrees with wind chills. This was I mean, this is the type of temperature, as you saw from my own personal reporting on the ground. This was the type of temperature where if you're outside, I mean, it was like literally 30 degrees warmer in the Arctic Circle, right? This is the type of temperature where if you're outside and you don't have like proper gear, or even if you do have proper gear, you can still get frostbite on your fingertips. Like I almost literally lost fingers. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up, get mad, stop being calm. Okay, you need to calm down. I'm a news broadcaster, okay? Like, shut chatter, okay? I'm going to calmly describe to you the events that I partook in and also explain to you what's going on and what's next, okay? Please, Jesus Christ, I understand why everyone is angry. I myself am also very frustrated, very angry, but, you know, like I can't. Like, this is my job. I need to be cool, calm, and collected to the best of my ability here. Anyway, so this is the other angle of the incident that took place, the assassination that took place. So like that came only a day after this massive demonstration took place in Minneapolis. Okay. AP reports that Officer Boohoo in response to angry protesters after a 51-year-old man was shot and killed by federal officers. So there's that as well. Anyway, let's take a look at the video that's 3 minutes long. That is not a safe angle to show, by the way, but leading up to the actual incident, this is going to be safe for the most part. So, you see a couple ICE agents getting out of their cars here. It looks like this is the lady in the pink that we saw from the different angle. And here is, I believe the person that we're seeing on our screen is the guy in the hat is the victim. Do not show, guys, I'm not going to show the actual moment of assassination. Okay. Can you calm down? Jesus Christ. So he does not have, he has a phone camera in his hand. He has a phone in his hand and he is, the victim here, you can briefly see, is getting in pulling away another legal observer. Okay. The victim here is pulling the victim in the brown jacket. Okay, is pulling away from an ICE agent who pushes another. These three people right here are all legal observers. Okay, as you can see, he has a bottle of water in their hands. The ICE agent right here pushes this woman who also is a legal observer with a bottle of water in her hands to the ground. And then the guy that they end up shooting is trying to pull away, like is trying to stop the ICE agent as he tries to stop the ICE agent as the ICE agent shoves this woman into the ground, into the ice. In the process, the ICE agent clearly tear gases or pepper sprays the victim. Okay. The victim has his hand up. He has his phone camera in his hand. The ICE agent continues to tear gas him directly into his face, pushes him away, starts tear gassing all of the other legal observers in the area. Hold on one second. I have to open the door real quick. One moment, 1 second. I had to get my freaking cold brew on. So the ICE agent, before the other ICE agents come around, the ICE agent starts violently pepper spraying everyone. At this point, the legal observer is trying to do his very best to pull the other legal observer away from the tear gas, to pull them up. And as you can see here, this is I'm about to go full cam here and not show you the rest of it, because from this point on, they're entirely focused on him. Okay, and you can see in the commotion, they're surrounding him. Now, at no point does he actually pull out a gun, at least from this angle, and you can't really see it from the other angle, but at no point does he actually present himself as a significant threat. This victim, every step of the way, in the first 51 seconds that we can see, is actually trying to de-escalate, is actually trying to stop the ICE agents from tear gassing these other legal observers. Okay, the gun was confiscated by another agent prior to the shots being fired. Yeah, no, I think that's what ends up happening. I think he's a lawful, legal gun owner. Here's some more scenes before the shots are fired here. It's not very easy to make out, but okay, so up until this moment, up until minute 1, there isn't anything that takes place here, but I suspect this is right when the shot is going to get fired. Minute 1 in the video. I'm going to go full screen here. You can start seeing like some of the cops surrounding him reaching for their service weapons. For the record, or not cops, sorry. One of the ICE pigs right here is pulling out his service weapon. There's a bunch of others that are also pulling out their service weapons. But there's approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total ICE agents surrounding him while the legal observers are trying to get out of the way as the victim is on the ground. He's not only surrounded, but they're violently and physically trying to apprehend him in a pile. And then the first shot is fired, and the commotion takes an entirely different life of its own from that point on. And you can see in the videos, I mean, this is a direct, from this angle, it's even more heinous. You can see it's a direct shot fired, almost like a oh, Jesus Christ. First shot and then the second and third shot, and you can see him like his lifeless body flinging into the ground where they just pull back, but almost making like contact with the barrel of the gun on this person's head and shoot them in a straight up execution. And as his lifeless body hits the ground, they continue shooting. And then, last but not least, as all of the ICE agents around this victim have dispersed and pulled away from the lifeless body of the victim on the ground, as you can hear, that one last ICE agent gets off 4 additional shots, and he continues. No, actually, that was 3, and then shot 4 and 5 is fired as he backs away. They literally back away from him. Like they take 3 or 4 steps away from him and just open fire. This is irredeemable. This is indefensible. This is cold-blooded, state-sanctioned murder. Okay? No interest or investment in de-escalation. They immediately surround the perimeter and they start screaming obscenities and screaming commands at all of the horrified onlookers. I believe it was 10 or 11 gunshots in total that they struck him with. For those of you who are wondering where I found this angle of the video, Dropsite News has the second angle from the lady in the pink shirt. Shots fired after police in Minneapolis struggle to subdue man brandishing gun amid protest. Video shows. New York Post is a bunch of heinous right-wing hacks, charlatans, propagandists. They're basically neo-Nazi style newspaper at this point. They are literally the Der Stürmer of the American Fourth Reich, for the record. I cannot believe that they said that. Every aspect of their coverage is incorrect. Not only is this not police, but ICE, but also the man was not brandishing a gun. That's not correct at all. At no point is the man that was shot and killed brandishing a weapon. Okay? There's also a third angle that I'm going to be covering as well, which is like which features all the things that led up to the shooting. But basically, I mean, there is no defense of what they're doing. At 55, you can see they find and throw the gun. He actually gets up and they keep shooting. Yeah, I haven't been able to get into exact details yet. This is my first time seeing the second angle, but
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! The did you just do? The did you just?
at that point, and there's one agent that goes. At that point, there's one agent that walks up and starts administering CPR. But unfortunately, the victim passed away. The Department of Homeland Security's statement in the immediate aftermath of the incident at 9:30 a.m. Minneapolis time, I believe, right? Or no, not 9:30 a.m. Minneapolis time. I think my computer is California time, so well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, they at 9:05 a.m. CT, as DHS law enforcement officers are conducting a target operation in Minneapolis against illegal alien wanted for violent assault, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with 9mm semi-automatic handguns seen here. The officers attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. More details on the armed struggle are forthcoming. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics on scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject and was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, I don't know if this gun is the actual gun that they took off of him. I don't know why they would also lie and act as though, there's a different gun involved here. I know some people are saying that it's a lie. This is not the real gun. It's so insane that obviously it's virtually impossible to trust law enforcement at this point, especially federal law enforcement at this point. It's just like there's no, I'm sorry. It's virtually impossible for me to trust federal law enforcement, specifically ICE, specifically the Department of Homeland Security, because they just lie so maliciously and so frequently. And they lie about things that we can see, that we can actually observe with our own two eyes. It's absolutely insane. And of course, this is a complete collapse. This is a complete collapse of the social fabric that holds society together once again, because when you have these people that are supposed to be defending us, these people that are supposed to be protecting us in theory, behave so belligerently, behave so violently, and then all of the mechanisms of justice that are supposed to do the right thing and prosecute the agent, the rogue agent that they, under different circumstances, would treat as though this rogue element is simply a bad apple, are not even doing that any longer. They're actually straight up saying that this was lawful, that this was good, that the victim was a terrorist, just like they did with Renee Good. Okay? I have my suspicions that there will still be right-wingers that defend this. It's completely indefensible. Just so we're clear, this was the victim's position when the first shot was fired, on his knees, shirt pulled up over his arms, surrounded by 7 ICE agents. And yesterday I was talking to some of the activists on the ground, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, right? We were trying to figure out what kind of action I could, what kind of direct action and mobilization I could potentially film and live stream. And one of the things that they were stressing to me was listen, we will try to keep you as safe as possible, but just understand that if you have a camera and you're out there, even if you have a press badge, even if you have a press jacket, they're gonna come after you and they're gonna try to break your camera, and they will tear gas you directly. They will pepper spray you directly in your face. And just, this is how regular people of Minneapolis approach this situation, where they're just these are rogue elements of the state that are engaging in a violent, militant occupation of their neighborhoods. Okay? And as we've seen over and over again, there's nothing stopping them from assassinating people in cold blood, especially as the administration has shown time and time again their interest in defending these people. And saying, no, they were actually in the right. They were totally in the right, even though very clearly they're in the wrong over and over again. And there is a decent percentage of people in this country, at least 20% of the people in this country, that will still defend this kind of altercation, defend this kind of incident, defend this kind of lawlessness. Okay? It's incredible to me. I mean, there are people in this chat right now that are coming in to make statements about how this person also deserved it. The body hasn't even been laid to rest. And there are still people that are trying to find a way to make this seem normal. Hasan, you are on the wrong side. Both sides aren't great, but you and your followers are on the wrong side, this guy says. Both sides aren't great, but you and your followers are on the wrong side. Brother, if a state can lawlessly execute American citizens in broad daylight and you consider that to be right, I don't want to be right, okay? You and I have a very different value system. You and I have a very, very different value system. You and I might be different organisms at this point. If you still look at a situation like this and say, nah, it's fucking totally worthwhile. This is totally worthy. Are you kidding me? You are not even a human being. You are barely sentient. You might be cattle. And yeah, here it is on Instagram. Minneapolis journalist and anchor Jana Shortle of CARE 11, clearly wearing press credentials, says she was pepper sprayed and punched in the eye by federal agents while trying to capture the aftermath of today's fatal shooting. So they're going after every single person. They are going after everyone with an agenda. Basically, they're behaving like a bunch of they are behaving like a rogue agency. Well, not a rogue agency, but they're basically behaving like a rogue agency, but a rogue agency that's behaving or behaving violently and belligerently at the behest of the state. So the state is actually deploying this belligerent agency to go kill people. It's crazy. This is an American city. This is a beautiful American city, Minneapolis, Minnesota, that is basically like a war zone right now because the American government has decided to deploy. The American government has basically decided to deploy a federal agency to go and hunt people and kill them. That's where we're at right now. And if you can't wake the to that reality, if you think that, like, you know, internet drama or your favorite content creator did this, I don't really like this person, I don't really like that person. If you can't unite on this issue, I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to make it. Okay? You're not going to make it. How many more people need to suffer until people come to that recognition that this is completely unsustainable? Like, what are we doing? Anyway, I'm continuing with the Department of Homeland Security statement now. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of officers, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics on scene immediately delivered medical aid. The suspect also had 2 magazines and no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. That's bullshit. If he wanted to do that, he would have actually came out brandishing and started shooting at people. Okay? An American citizen does not need to walk around with identification. An American citizen does not need to tell members of ICE or show members of ICE his papers. ICE has no jurisdiction over American citizens. Customs and Border Patrol has jurisdiction over American citizens only at the point of entry into the nation state. Okay? This is insane. And so much of this conversation is driven by lies. And I cannot comprehend why people do not address these lies. Number one, ICE's duties are not to actually apprehend criminals, okay? ICE's job is to deal with paperwork violators. That is ICE's job, to deal with people who are engaging in a civil offense, whether they're cognizant of it or not, doesn't matter. They do not actually apprehend criminals, okay? They don't. The only criminals that they actually get their hands on are criminals that are charged and convicted after local law enforcement or federal law enforcement finds them guilty of wrongdoing or arrest them under the suspicion that they've done something wrong. Then they go through the courts and they go to the prisons after after justice has been served, and only then does ICE actually apprehend them. And they routinely will use those sometimes violent criminals who are undocumented as a reason, as an example of who they're actually stopping. Okay? This is bull. These are people who are already serving out their sentences. Okay? ICE does not stop any real criminals. So when you see the percentages when they go, oh, 80% of people that ICE deported this year actually did not have a criminal background at all, that's 100% of the people that they apprehend from the streets, from their workplaces, from right after their court hearings. Okay? The other 20% that have a criminal background are nabbed from prisons. Do you understand? ICE only grabs criminal migrants from prisons. Okay? This is not a regular law enforcement agency. And it's so crazy to me that people do not know this. This is a fundamental truth that so many people are oblivious to. And I think it's the reason why so many people that have this conversation behave the way that they do, because in their minds, they're like, well, you know, these are rugged criminals. Look, they grabbed the rapist off the street. It's like, no, they went to a prison after an undocumented migrant had done a rape and had been caught by the police, investigated, charged, convicted in a court of law, and was serving out their prison sentence. And then ICE went in, grabbed him from the prison to deport him, just so they can make a show of force, just so they can claim that every single undocumented migrant is a rapist criminal. Okay? That's fact number one. Fact number two, undocumented migrants are responsible for a far lower share of crime per capita than documented U.S. citizens are. Far lower, especially if you tie in documented migrants on top of that. The numbers are negligible. They're utterly irrelevant at that point. It's like 29 murders or 29 violent crimes per year, something along those lines. It's like ridiculous. Okay? It's all propaganda. Okay, Bovino is speaking now, so I'll just go there and I'll see what he is actually saying. Is this
no different?
We'll
At 9:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien, Jose Huerta Chuma. You can see this illegal alien on the screen to my left and right. That is Jose Huerta Chuma, whose criminal history includes domestic assault to intentionally inflict bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license.
Yeah, the reason driving without a valid license, wow. The reason why they're hamming this up, by the way, is to say this was like another lawful incident that was obstructed by these people who deserve to be shot and killed.
The agents attempted to disarm the individual, but he violently resisted. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers.
This is ass covering, legal ass covering.
Defensive shots. Medics on the scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, but the subject was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Then, about 200 rioters arrived at the scene and began to obstruct and assault law enforcement. Crowd control measures have been deployed for the safety of the public and law enforcement. This situation is evolving and more information is forthcoming. The officer was highly trained and had been serving as a Border Patrol agent for 8 years. The officer has extensive training as a range safety officer and...
Yeah, highly trained officer is right.
As mentioned,
trained murder, okay? A lot of people talk, myself included, talk about like the 47-day training that these unlawful scumbags get. Okay, Jonathan Ross was highly trained to do a murder. This ICE pig was highly trained, and he still executed someone in cold blood. My point is, highly trained doesn't actually mean anything in this situation because ICE needs to be abolished as an agency.
We will not allow violence against our law enforcement officers, and we need state and local help. State and local law enforcement to help us coordinate to get violent criminals off the streets. Mayor Fry and Chief O'Hare just a few minutes ago did the opposite of that by omitting the fact that the suspect had a gun and magazines full of ammunition. In what looks like a situation, again, where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. I want to reiterate what President Donald Trump, Secretary Kristi Noem, myself, Director Marcos Charles, and so many others have said time and again. If you obstruct a law enforcement officer or assault a law enforcement officer, you are in violation of the law and will be arrested. Our law enforcement officers take an oath to protect the public. We go to work every day to protect our friends, our neighbors, and our fellow citizens.
Bull.
The fact of the matter is that
No one believes this, man. No one believes this. Your Nazis literally ended up shooting and killing yet another American citizen for doing the brave thing, doing the right thing, trying to de-escalate. Get the out of here, man. Get out of here. And the reality of the matter is, this is the purpose of ICE. This is now, especially now, the purpose of ICE. In the initial stages when ICE was developed as an unlawful agency under the Department of Homeland Security, 23 years ago, we had INS, which would do the job of ICE, which was specifically to cover paperwork-related civil offenses, okay? They were not as militarized as they are now. They did not have the same, like, unlawful jurisdiction, expansive jurisdiction as they do now currently, okay? Their jobs was to just deliver paperwork, okay? That's what they did. You had Border Patrol, that was a separate agency, and you had Customs, that was a separate agency. The Patriot Act and the terror fears sparked after 9/11 caused these agencies, or gave enough power to all of these agencies under the newly formed Department of Homeland Security, okay? There is utility and use for Border Patrol. There is utility and use for Customs, okay? There's even utility and use for INS. But under this new definition, 23 years ago, when the Department of Homeland Security was created, it was specifically designed to inevitably get to the point that it has gotten to here. A mass surveillance apparatus that can be used unilaterally by a psychopathic tyrant like Donald Trump. His own personal army of racist monsters who will not shy away, as a matter of fact, who will entertain the use of force like this over and over and over again. It's over. It's done. Some might say, how do we get here? And the reason why I explain all this stuff is so you understand. Rewind, please. What are you going to hear? Bovine Bovino, man. Shut the rewind for what reason? There's nothing. Here, I'll rewind for you, okay? We can hear his final statements here. I'll rewind for you so you can hear him talk one more time, okay?
And so this is
to show support for all federal law enforcement who have been under constant attack in Minneapolis for weeks now. This morning was no different. At 9:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien, Jose Huerta Chuma. You can see this illegal alien on the screen to my left and right. That is Jose Huerta Chuma, whose criminal history includes domestic assault to intentionally inflict bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license. Years, the officer has extended state and local law enforcement criminals in damage and massacre law enforcement. I want to reiterate what President Donald Trump, Secretary Kristi Noem, myself, Director Marcos Charles, and so many others have said time and again. If you obstruct a law enforcement officer or assault a law enforcement officer, you are in violation of the law and will be arrested.
New angle shows both of his hands were on the ground at the moment of his shooting, it seems. There's another angle from across the street, not near the donut shop, but on the other side. There are so many different angles that are coming out right now as we speak, and all of those angles show the exact same thing that the first angle also showed, which is not dissimilar to what happened with Renee Good, that this was a totally inappropriate use of force and broad daylight execution of another American citizen. Okay? Hold on. I'm gonna look through the video real quick. Oh, this one is... Hold on. Victim identified. Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a second. So Right here, you can see the victim on the ground. Both of his hands are on the ground. And I think that's at 38 is the first shot being fired. Oh, no, at 40 is the first shot being fired. So moments before the first shot is fired, even in the commotion, you can see that like right before, he's completely on the ground being subdued here. I mean, I don't know what to say here. Like, I don't know what you can even say. Okay. The victim has been identified. A bystander video shows several agents wrestling with a man on a city sidewalk moments before the shooting. Police Chief Brian O'Hare issued a plea for calm as protests gathered around the city. They keep repeating that over and over again as though that's the most consequential aspect of this story. But federal agents from Department of Homeland Security, ICE, fatally shot a man this morning in South Minneapolis, setting off confrontation between protesters and agents at the scene. It was the second fatal shooting involving federal agents who have swarmed Minnesota as a part of a massive immigration enforcement operation. So far, we've looked at every single one of these angles. For the record, I know that you're coming in. Are you in Minnesota or am I dumb? No, I am. I am in Minnesota. I was in Minnesota for the day of action that took place yesterday. A single day general strike that took place yesterday with more than 50,000 demonstrators. Protesting peacefully in the streets in a major show of force in minus the 20-degree temperatures. This was the second fatal shooting, but the third shooting overall, because there was a Venezuelan that was also shot in the leg, if you recall, a couple days after Renee Good was shot, or I think the night after Renee Good was shot. But this is the second fatal shooting involving federal agents who have swarmed Minnesota as a part of a massive immigration enforcement operation. Department of Homeland Security said the man was armed with a gun and 2 magazines of ammunition and circulated a photo of the weapon. DHS agents said that they fired in self-defense. This is bullshit, as we have seen. The video contradicts this statement. 2 people familiar with the incident told the Minnesota Star Tribune that the man was Alex Jeffrey Preddy. He was 37 years old. The 2 people spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to disclose details of the incident. So we now have the name of the victim, Alex Jeffrey Preddy, and his age. He was a 37-year-old American citizen. We still don't have as much evidence beyond what the Department of Homeland Security has released about whether or not this was his gun that was taken off of him. What we can kind of see from all the different angles of the footage that's out there is that there is the gun that they're claiming was his gun, the victim's gun, can be seen in this moment. Gremlo was able to zoom in and show it and identify it right here. You'll see this is the ICE agent that pulls out, that reaches over the victim's body and seemingly pulls something out. Now, we don't know if it's his own personal gun. We don't know if this is the victim's gun. I've seen the Pink Lady's video, and no, none of the videos right now give us a clear picture of what took place in the commotion, aside from the fact that it was definitely a state-sanctioned, unlawful murder of yet another American citizen that was piled on when he was, as a legal observer, trying to de-escalate and trying to protect his neighbors. That is the only thing that we can see. Okay? Here is how our psychopathic president replied to the situation where another American was assassinated by his thugs. This is the gunman's gun, loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. What is that all about? Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers? The mayor and the governor called them off. It is stated that many of these police were not allowed to do their job, that ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do. Why does Ilhan Omar have $34 million in her account? What the does that have to do with anything? Ilhan Omar married someone who is wealthy. That's it. What does Ilhan Omar have to do with this? What does Ilhan Omar's like husband have to do with this at all? You understand what's going on here, right? It's always like Somalis. What the is Ilhan Omar have to do with this? Oh, Ilhan Omar married someone who's wealthy. I guess you can American citizens now. My mistake, Mr. President. I didn't realize that Ilhan Omar had actually married a wealthy person. Obviously, start American citizens then with your goddamn brigade. That's totally fine, okay? Meanwhile, you have made 3 or even more than that. I think it's like it's definitely more than $1 billion since you were inaugurated with your cryptocurrency schemes and shit like that. But hey, that's fine because you're obviously worth it, Mr. President. I love you. I will give you more money for your cryptocurrency schemes, please. Like, what the does this have to do with anything? Oh God, the dumbest mouth breathers of all time will look at that and go, hell yeah, that's right. And also calling the victim a gunman is insane. A gunman. The only gunman on scene is the ICE agent that shot and killed this law-abiding American citizen. I know there's a video. We watched the video of the woman in the pink coat. Please stop. Not only that, but we've also seen all the other angles as well. I've been live for an hour and 10 minutes. Trust me, we watched every angle so far. Why does Ilhan Omar have $34 million? Where are the tens of billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once greatest state of Minnesota? We are there because of massive monetary fraud with billions of dollars missing and illegal criminals that were allowed to infiltrate the state. Okay, I'm going to repeat something one more time. Any kind of crime that's taking place, especially financial crimes that are taking place in the state of Minnesota, in Minneapolis, are not dealt with by ICE. ICE does not deal with fraud, okay? Oh my God. I'm going to reiterate this over and over again because a lot of people don't understand. ICE does not do investigations into financial fraud. ICE's job is apprehending at times people who are in violation of paperwork, not financial fraud style paperwork and documentation, immigration civil offenses, okay? Immigration civil offenses. That is the sole purpose of ICE, okay? As a matter of fact, one of the federal prosecutors that actually investigated the previous charity fraud, that is the inception point for all of this chaos, or at least was the reason why Trump was justifying his use of force, seeking this rogue agency on American citizens, was carried out by a federal prosecutor who actually recently resigned. You might be wondering why he resigned. He resigned alongside 6 other federal prosecutors because the Department of Justice told those federal prosecutors to not investigate or prosecute Jonathan Ross for killing Renee Good, Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent that killed Renee Good, but instead to prosecute and investigate and find any incriminating evidence on Rebecca Good, Renee Ross's partner. Do you understand what I'm saying? The federal government protected its assassin and then turned around and tried to find anything to put on the victim's partner. Okay? Renee Good's partner, I believe her name is Rebecca. Did I say it wrong? I'm sorry. Renee Good's widow. That's who the federal government was going after. That's who the federal government wanted these federal prosecutors to investigate, which led to 6 federal prosecutors resigning, publicly resigning, because they were like, you're out of your mind. Those fraudsters who stole the money are going to jail where they belong. This is no different than a really big bank robbery. Much of what you're witnessing is a cover-up for this theft and fraud. The mayor and the governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. Oh, yeah, I wish they were. They're not doing shit, okay? They're not doing shit. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the people of Minnesota and the United States of America. Let our ICE patriots do their job. 12,000 illegal alien criminals, many of them violent, have been arrested and taken out of Minnesota. If they were still there, you would see something far worse you were witnessing than today. Every single thing that he mentioned is wrong. As I've repeatedly explained to you, the only criminals with an actual criminal record, like a serious offense, that have been apprehended by ICE have been taken out of the Department of Corrections in the state of Minnesota. Okay? The Department of Corrections has a mandate to abide by the federal agencies when they see fit. If they want to extract and deport someone who has done like a heinous crime or any crime really, and they're serving out their sentence, they go there and they take those guys out to pad the numbers. Okay? They pad the numbers. 100% of day-to-day apprehensions that ICE engages in when they're doing these EROs, okay? 100% of those apprehensions, pretty much 100% of those apprehensions are either people with no criminal records whatsoever or people with minor infractions in the past that are free to roam around in the streets, okay? The only people that they actually get that have been convicted of doing a crime, specifically the heinous crimes that the Trump administration calls the worst of the worst, they're not roaming the streets freely. There has never been a moment on U.S. soil where someone does a heinous crime as an undocumented migrant, and then the court turns around and says, the courts turn around and say, hey, are you an undocumented migrant that committed a heinous crime? Sorry, we have to let you go.
You know,
That's
listening
not
to Maxine and some
how
other folks, it just
this
seems like a much
happens.
different vibe of the.
We're moving to
the
Tim Walz's
pandemonium
statements
we saw
now.
for
Governor
George
Tim
Floyd
Walz is
and
releasing
those
a
2020
statement.
riots, just in terms of, you know, not only the temperature of the people, but the actual temperature outside.
Governor
How many
Walz
people
is
are
going to
involved,
update the public about the
and
deadly
what
Border Patrol
incentive is
shooting.
there, right, for anyone to go ahead and destroy any of these things. I'd imagine that's when we'd see law enforcement and maybe even the Guard again, if we saw.
Among other things, it's a cover up for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once again great state. I think he's utilizing the term cover up for the record to actually change the cover up narrative. I think these guys are very dumb, but they know how to manipulate their public. They know how to manipulate their fans, and I suspect that the usage of the term cover up here is deliberate. I suspect that the usage of the term cover up here is specifically because a lot of people say this is a cover up for the Epstein stuff. So Donald Trump is trying to do his classic algorithm change here by claiming this is a cover up. They're using the word cover up as a way to change the algorithm around cover up for Epstein. Okay? Tim Walz has started speaking.
I've seen the videos from several angles, and it's sickening. But I have a strong statement here for our federal government. Minnesota's justice system will have the last word on this. It must have the last word. As I told the White House in no uncertain terms this morning, the federal government cannot be trusted to lead this investigation. The state will handle it, period. Let me say something else, and this is critically important. All of us understand what happened this morning and the tragedy of it, and my deepest sympathies to the family of a 37-year-old Minnesota resident, a lawful firearm concealed permit carrier, something that I've been lectured to by Republicans for decades, that is not only your right, it's your duty.
Yeah.
We know that the potential to further inflame tensions is high. And to Minnesotans, there's a difference.
Dude, come on. Stop trying to tell the public, calm down. They're gonna rebel against you too. You don't see the moment. You're not meeting the moment, Tim.
Meeting violence with violence. Minnesota and our local
Oh my
law
God, they
enforcement,
spend
as
so
you
much
have
time
seen,
on the
have
reaction.
done everything possible to de-escalate. Local media has reported extensively on the cooperation to de-escalate this situation. Donald Trump, I call on you once again, remove this force from Minnesota. They are sowing chaos and violence. We've seen deadly violence from federal agents again and again and again. But in contrast to that, on these frozen streets, what you witnessed yesterday was the best of Minnesotans, peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights. And I attended in the church basement hundreds of Minnesotans from all faith packing care packages for families that have been ripped apart. Despite the horrific acts by this federal government, Minnesotans are standing up for the rule of law. They're protesting loudly and urgently, but peacefully. It must stay that way, Minnesota. Minnesotans are witnessing, and we're creating a log of evidence for the future prosecution of ICE agents and officials responsible for this. They're helping their neighbors. They're walking their kids to school. They're feeding families. I salute their courage and their restraint, and I call on all Americans to see the decency that this state is exhibiting and the horrific cruelty, unprofessional, absolute abomination that is passing for what these ICE agents are doing on our streets. They think they can provoke us into abandoning our values. Well, they're dead wrong. We'll keep the peace, we'll secure the justice with our neighbors, and we'll see this occupation ends. Minnesotans and Minnesota law enforcement that continuously is being denigrated by this administration will continue to be the adults in the room, the professionals in the room, the decent human beings in the room that will keep the peace. With this, I'd like to turn it over to Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson to update you on the situation as we know it.
No shot. DHS is investigating it? Come on, dude. Come the on.
Thank you, Governor. I'm Bob Jacobson, Commissioner of Public Safety for the
Local
Department
law enforcement needs to start arresting these people. You need to start doing crazy shit. You need to get the National Guard and the local law enforcement with the National Guard's backing to go and apprehend these criminals,
I want
dude.
to pause and remember what cannot get lost in this
You
moment.
need to detain these guys.
Man died. His family and friends are feeling unimaginable heartbreak and trauma. And I know Minnesotans and I know our community will rally around this man's family and friends to support him. I also understand clearly that people are upset. They're scared, they're confused, and I want to assure you that this state's public safety officials and our local law enforcement partners are doing everything in our power to get answers, to help return a sense of normalcy back to our communities.
I don't think these guys understand. This is something I stressed to Keith Ellison yesterday. They're losing the public's confidence in them. And when they lose the public's confidence in them and the public starts thinking, okay, well, if I see an ICE agent, they're going to shoot and kill me. They're going to take matters of self-defense in their own hands. You don't want that happening, okay? You don't want that happening at all. You guys need to take action. You need to take action right now. You need to detain people. You need to start arresting the ICE agents. You have to start arresting the ICE agents before this gets further out of hand. There is a reason for law and order in this country and in every country, okay? Law and order plays a formative role in the fabric that holds society together, okay? Once that goes away, it's pure anarchy, it's pure chaos. You cannot be this scaredy cat in this moment, okay? You have to protect your constituents. You have to protect your citizens. You have to protect your neighbors. If you don't do your job, and if the local law enforcement is actually too busy gassing the people that are protesting rather than actually helping them, rather than actually apprehending the ICE agents that are killing their neighbors, it's over. It's going to be over. I keep warning. No one is listening.
Well, I spoke twice this morning shortly after I received the call of this shooting. I spoke with the President's Chief of Staff, and first request was to get her people out of there, to get these federal agents out of there. They were going to cause more chaos. And second call is, with no uncertain terms, that we will investigate this. We will not be stonewalled. What we've already seen, and you saw it this morning, before any investigation is done, you have the most powerful people in the federal government spinning stories and putting up pictures and unrelated people who we don't know anything about, and a picture of a firearm to try and spin a narrative. And I ask Americans, this will end when enough Americans say this will end. Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing? No, I don't have a lot of confidence.
Then what are you going to do? You do something.
Confidence that
do something. Stop having confidence in Minnesotans. Minnesota nice. Minnesota nice. God damn it, Tim Walz, such a cowardly.
All the been done after everything that's been said under the pretense that they are here about immigration reform, and quit referring to these people as law enforcement. They are not law enforcement. We have law enforcement who do an incredible job. And to listen to Greg Bovino denigrate the work of our people who are out there cleaning up their mess, no, I don't have a lot of confidence that he himself will do it. But here's what I do have confidence in. There's a whole lot of Republicans, for whatever reason, cannot find their spine. But they might find the ability to know that they're not going to win another election as long as they live, unless they stand up for what's right and stand up for the rule of law and stand up for human decency, and that's the moment.
So then, just a follow-up, because then if that is not the case, what are the people of Minnesota supposed to do who are in the middle right now? Because if they stonewall and you're trying to investigate, is that forcing?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And look, I speaking to the people of Minnesota right now, I hear that scream from you, And I'll continue to plead and ask you for peace. And I know the answer is you ask us for peace and we give it, and we get shot in the face on the streets coming out of a donut shop. We cannot give them what they want. I don't know how to say this in so many terms, to watch the madness that we've witnessed over this last week coming out of the White House and what it's doing here.
Dog,
my confidence is,
they haven't been.
Minnesotans,
They haven't been.
Said,
the protests have been incredibly lawful up until this moment. This is the peak of civil disobedience. Organized, okay? Show of force, peaceful. They're doing all of that. It's not working. You have to literally get the law enforcement on the side of the population. If you don't get law enforcement agencies, local law enforcement agencies, and state law enforcement agencies to work alongside the National Guard deployment to literally start apprehending ICE agents, people are going to go, you're not defending us. We've been doing the peaceful thing, and they're shooting us in the face. They're shooting us in the face over and over again. What message do you give to the people? What message do you give to the Minnesotans that voted for you and didn't even vote for you but are still frustrated all the same? You tell them you're on your own, okay? It's chaos from that point on. If you want to ensure stability as a local administrator, as a state administrator, you have to start doing real law and order. This message that they keep presenting to their neighbors, to their voters, to Minnesotans is you're on your own. You're on your own. Just be peaceful. You're on your own. Just keep it cool. We're going to fix it. But no fixing is coming.
Agents or public safety, state patrol, or Minneapolis on the ground at that crime scene.
Is that an instruction by the federal government, or did you pull your agents out?
What I will tell you, and not to get further, but just the scene, leaving that to Minnesota State Patrol, Minneapolis. We did not have enough resources to be able to hold that ground safely, and we had to leave that scene because of the number of people that were available and the safety of those in the public and the safety of our teams. We were able to get there, but at that time we were not able to hold that scene to do a crime scene investigation. I can't talk any more about those details.
Who is handling the investigation? If not either DHS nor state officials right now?
We'll have more on that, but the BCA is engaged and involved, and we are working at the request of the Minneapolis Police Department on this, on the scene and in this investigation. So we are there, we're available. We want to make sure that we continue to work on this and engage with our
Zero chance any cop is going to break the thin blue line and arrest Fez for doing what they're doing? No.
We don't have anything more to share about the crime scene. Again,
no, it don't matter. It doesn't matter.
Safe, but federal law
First of all, there are still plenty of cops that will follow the orders that are given to them. That's number one. Number two, I don't think you understand. Cops are being detained by ICE. There are black and brown police officers that are being detained. Hennepin County Sheriff's Office is complaining that their black off-duty cops are getting detained by ICE. Okay? You're wrong. There's a precedent for this. There's a legal precedent for this. As Keith Olson was explaining, there was a legal precedent for this before the Constitution was written, and certainly a legal precedent for this after the Constitution was written. What I am saying is, what I'm demanding from our agents is a little bit of gamesmanship, a little bit of legal gamesmanship, okay? I'm expecting them to, at the very least, behave like right-wingers do. Right-wingers, when there is, under the Biden administration, would literally not shy away from doing crazy things, breaking the actual law. Breaking the actual law. Like, Governor Greg Abbott in Texas and Ron DeSantis literally trafficked undocumented migrants across borders. That was illegal, and the administration didn't do about it, okay? Just as an effort to make a statement, as an effort to universalize the problem, or to like deliberately make an issue out of undocumented migrants by trafficking them to states without giving them prior notice, prior clearance. Anyway, let's listen to the National Guard here.
To respond in a much rapid manner than if they were not mobilized. So we have a request from the Hennepin County Sheriff to support them, and that is to help them free up additional resources for other work that they need to do. And we have started coordinating with them this morning on that, and And that first area of support will be assisting them with their requirement to provide security to the Whipple building. So we'll be helping them there. And then we are in parallel planning with other organizations within the state of Minnesota, to include the State Patrol, the Minnesota DNR, and other local agencies to render assistance if requested.
Can you say how many are now employed?
I would say that the number that we have is adequate for the requests that we have right now, and I will also tell you that we are bringing more resources that will be able to respond in a timely manner that are not fully mobilized yet, but we are mobilizing more soldiers as we talk at this time. I'd like not to get into specific numbers for an operational security standpoint, but right now we have all the resources to meet the requests that we have.
I would note on this one, too, that we'll be billing the federal government for the cost of the National Guard because they are incurring the costs that are falling on us by their reckless actions. Yes, sir.
You alluded to this earlier, but are you rejecting the narrative that has been presented by federal officials that this man, this 37-year-old citizen of Minneapolis, posed a threat to these agents? And are you rejecting the idea that he played some role with the weapon in leading to
I'm rejecting the rush to judgment within 15 minutes of this, which they did last time. That's why you need to have a fair investigation. And that's why a video can show one thing, but what happened beforehand. But they already will slander this individual. They've already made this the case. And I will just say, you will all start to see it, and some of you probably have. There's multiple angles of this. And I'll go back to what we talked about before. They're telling you not to trust your eyes and ears, not to trust the facts that you're seeing in front of them. And at some point in time, your reporting, and I think the reporting this week has been spectacular across Minnesota, that there's not two sides to every story. But in this situation, what I'm saying is we need to have a fair investigation, understanding what's happening, and held accountable. We continue to hear, and we heard it from the vice president, that these folks can do whatever they want. They can have full immunity. And what I'm telling you is they will not. There will be justice to Minnesotans. Continue to gather the information. So I won't say where it is because I think it's irresponsible to make that judgment. But what I see with my eyes and what you're going to see with your eyes makes that pretty hard to believe. And I would imagine as a federal officer, they would have come out and sounded like these professionals sound and say, we need to gather the information, we need to gather all the facts, we need to put them forward, and then we can make some informed decision based on the fact. They've written the narrative already. And the audacity to critique the police chief of Minneapolis after what work that those heroic officers are trying to do, and to be critiqued by this guy, I mean, I don't know, I've said it a lot, but America, as you're listening, enough is enough. Enough is enough of this. End this. End this. And we see them moving to Maine. If you're in Boston, you're in Chicago, you're in Philly, you're in Miami, it doesn't matter. We can't live like this. Our children are in trauma. A 5-year-old, you saw the picture, the bunny hat and the Spider-Man. Is there not like some narrative to throw around, to parade around in some coat you had made and act like you're a tough guy or whatever? These are people's lives, and we have rule of law. So I'll let the investigation play itself out. We will do our best to find it, but I don't know, you kill a man and then you just leave your law enforcement, you just leave him. Is there a single case in American history where you just like walk away and say, I guess that just happened and we're not going to clean up our mess? I'm proud of Minnesotans. I'm proud of law enforcement here and our partners, and we'll get to the bottom of it. I think we have time for another one. So, yes, ma'am.
Bringing up with you guys to the Channel 5. Vice Commander just said in the press conference within the hour that they're calling on state and local law enforcement to, quote, help coordinate to get violent criminals off the street. What's your response to that request?
I'm better off to let these guys, the professionals, I have my thoughts.
So the question was,
all hollow,
what are we doing to assist
hollow
federal law
words
enforcement on getting violent criminals off the street, if I understand the question?
ridiculous.
State and local law enforcement are always ready and willing and able to arrest violent offenders. We do not stand down from that, no matter where we get that information from. If there are violent offenders or violent criminals or violent crimes, we will investigate and we'll bring those to justice. If the federal government would like to work with us, to continue to work with us as they have in the past, to locate those violent offenders, we are always open to those discussions. and always willing to assist. We do not ignore that. We are ready and able, and we do that. All of you, as part of the media, hear us arresting violent offenders all the time. We have not stood down. That is our mission. The federal government is not alone in arresting violent offenders. State and local law enforcement does that every day at great risk to their life, at great risk to the community. We do it because we want a safe Minnesota, and the federal government is not the only one to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ross wrapping up a press conference right now. You can see emotions were running high. He said he hopes that this is the event that people say enough is enough. Gave a lot of information there.
One thing that I want to point out is something that Caroline talked with you earlier this morning and Reg on set about was the BCA being locked out of the Renee Good investigation, and what will this be like this time around? And we heard that the BCA is engaged in an investigation at the request of MPD, but that, and this was interesting, that DHS...
Bro. I don't think these mother understand what's going on, okay? I'm talking to the people out here. I'm seeing it with my own two eyes. I've been at the goddamn demonstrations. These people are straight up oblivious, okay? They are oblivious. They do not understand that they are so out of touch and out of step with where people are at right now. They do not get it. They do not get it at all. This is not heading somewhere good, okay? This is heading somewhere very, very bad. This is a powder keg, and it is slated to explode.